Today we're making carnivore ice cream. So by that I mean we're only using kind of animal products with a few exceptions for flavoring and call it spice. And we're using an artificial sweetener or L-glycine, which is actually an amino acid that is very sweet and has a very similar texture to sugar. So technically it is carnivore, depending on your own definition. You feel free to add whatever other spice you want. But so I have 6 eggs, I have some heavy cream, then there's some vanilla and cinnamon, and then that glycine I talked about, and salt. And we're just gonna go through and kind of mix it all up. I have an ice cream maker, so luckily that will help give that texture. I'm gonna try and make a little bit of, or leave a little bit of it, the substance, and put it in a container without the ice cream maker just to see how it is. So if it works, then you don't even need an ice cream maker, which is pretty sweet. So let's get right into the cracking of the eggs. So you only need the yolks, you don't need the whites. So I got another container, I'm just gonna put the whites in. I can add that to any type of scramble, anything I use eggs for, just put that in there. And then we'll just put the yolks in this bigger bowl to switch it. So I have this bowl with a slit so I can separate them easily. And then we'll just get all 6 yolks into the big bowl. Okay, the eggs are separated, got the whites here for the fridge, and then all of my yolks are just in there. And now we add all of the non-cream ingredients. So, starting with salt, add about half a teaspoon, spread that out. And then I'll have to get another teaspoon here for the vanilla. You want about a teaspoon or 1.5 teaspoons for vanilla. You don't want it to be too overpowering, but you do want to make sure it has that vanilla flavor, at least for vanilla ice cream. That's 1. This is half, so there's kind of 2.5. That's enough vanilla there. If you want to add more, go ahead. Or if you want to try a different flavor, you could definitely do that too. And then we'll add the glycine or the sweetener. So this is kind of what it looks like if you can get close enough there. It's very sugary looking. So you have 3 or 4 scoops of this. 2, 3, and 1 more. About that, that's about 3.5. We'll leave some. We're almost out, we need to refill, but that's that. Salt, cinnamon. You can also add nutmeg. We usually like to do that as well. It gives it a little bit more of an earthy kind of feel, but yeah. And then you whisk all of this together, really beat the eggs, then you just got it all mixed together. And then we add cream. So I have this 35% here, and we will use 3 cups, which is to about there. I'm just going to use the rest of this. So about, 750 mils, and this will get you about 6-ish servings depending on how much you eat. You could definitely eat it in one sitting because it is that good, but it is probably best to spread it out a little bit. Okay, so now we pour the cream in once that's all mixed up, and then we're going to mix this up again. Not trying to beat it so that the cream is whipped or anything, but just enough so that way all of the cinnamon and the salt and the vanilla is spread out fairly evenly. You can also add honey or caramel or anything like that, depending on what kind of flavors you want or allow in your diet or want to try. It is fully mixed. I'm gonna grab the ice cream bin out of the freezer and we'll pour it in. All right, we're ready to pour it in. I'm gonna use this for the without ice cream machine. So I'll just put just a little bit in there and let that freeze and see how it works out. And then otherwise, the rest of it's just gonna go into the big bin. Trying to scrape out as much as we can. Not let any go to waste. Skip. and then you just run it as the machine wants you to. So I put it on the ice cream setting for usually around 20 minutes. The default setting is 25, but usually it thickens up before then, so it doesn't need to go that long. But yeah, start ice cream, says 25 minutes. And yeah, there it goes. It just rotates and spins it around. And so now we'll just wait and we'll go into time-lapse mode and we'll see when it's done. Checking in, we're about 10 minutes in. You can see it's starting to firm up a little bit, getting a little bit more ice cream-like. Okay, I think we're getting to a pretty good consistency. It's pretty rough, or pretty solid. If you look on the side, you start to get some buildup, some frozen ice cream there. We'll have to scrape that off, but I think we're gonna call it there, and then we'll put it into some yogurt containers, and it'll be good to eat. Okay, we're gonna call it here. Looks pretty good. Oh yeah, you can see that. That's some pretty good consistency. Pretty close to ice cream. It's not gonna be exactly the same, but definitely relatively close. So I just have a spoon and I'm gonna put it in these yogurt containers. It could go a bit longer. It is a little bit soft still here, but that is okay. It'll still be a pretty good consistency once I'm gonna put these directly into the freezer and it'll be snack for tonight after supper. But yeah, just go through, take all this off, not wasting, trying to not waste any. And of course you gotta lick the lick the spinning thing here. And the cat just entered where he walked by. He loves cream, so he'll want to get some too, but there's that. Yep. Nice. I'll finish licking that off camera, but for now, I got the rest of this. See, that's all. This is all the good stuff, and then the outside will have to get scraped off because it's a little bit more work, but split it to both. Yeah, if you go too long, then it's just way too much work to try and scrape it off. That's pretty much it. I'm just gonna spend some time and scrape this off the bottom and make sure I get it all, and then I'll come back to you when I'm done. All right, that's it. That's your carnivore ice cream. You can see the difference in consistency between what was in the center and what was on the outside, but if you just mix it all up together, once it freezes, it'll be pretty much all the same. And then this one is mostly the chunks, but again, I'll just mix it up and then put it in the freezer ready for storage. And once you take it out, you just let it melt for, you know, a couple minutes, and then it'll be ready to eat. So we will have to check. We'll come back and check and see how this stuff went without the ice cream maker. We got the not machined ice cream here. I've dug into it a little bit. It's pretty close. It's a little bit kind of crystally, but if you let it melt, it'll be pretty much the same. So I would say you do not need an ice cream machine to make this ice cream, which is awesome. So feel free to give this a try and let me know how it goes. See you in the next one.